Mr. Speaker, it's no secret that over the last 5 years, the APNU AFC administration sought to callously impose several tax measures which undoubtedly caused hardship to Guyanese. Today, through several bills that will be presented in this honorable house, will prove to Guyanese that the PPPC administration is once again committed to the welfare of all Guyanese by reversing and reducing those draconian tax measures that were previously imposed. With respect to Bill number 2 of 2020, that's the Auctioneer's Amendment Bill. If I may say this, Mr. Speaker, the driving force behind the economy, the business community, was heavily affected by the imposition of these tax measures. This is no different for auctioneers, who previously prospered on gains or profits from sales. A quick scan of the records at the Guyana Revenue Authority has shown that in 2009, there was one license issued to an auction. In 2020, that has reduced to 0. Now, previous years, you would have had a lot more, but it is just to show that over from 2016, the amendment of the bill, the principal act that Chapter 9107 of the Laws of the Auctioneers Act, the amendment of that act, by the then Finance Minister, Mr. Winston Gordon, sought to put an exorbitant fee of $40,000 on auctioneers. And the fact that you have 1 in 2019 and 0 in 2020 has shown that over the years, that particular business has deteriorated to 0 because of the hardship that it has imposed, the increase in that fee has imposed on auctioneers. Now, if I'm to give an example, Mr. Speaker, if an auctioneer has to pay $40,000 for a license to go have a vehicle sold, and you have, because of that, the bidding has to start at a higher bid than it would normally if the license fee was less. As you bid, the purchaser or the intended purchaser realizes that when he is bidding and bidding, the higher the amount goes, you're paying more money for less value. So that discourages a buyer. And that is what we have seen. The auctioneer spends $40,000 on his license. He is left with that vehicle at the end of the day, and he makes no profit. So really and truly, that is the hardship that has been placed on that specific business. The PPPC is looking to reduce that $40,000 to approximately $23,500, which will incentivize businesses, it will have a trickle-along effect as well, Mr. Speaker, because you will now have more auctioneers coming forward. You will have employment for other persons, and that is the trickle-along effect. And that is significant of a healthy economy. Mr. Speaker, like most of the other unconscionable tax impositions, this one has also been, we have also seen the deterioration of the auctioneer's business. As a result, Mr. Speaker, the proposal of the Auctioneers Bill of 2000, the amendment of the Auctioneers Bill of 2020 will benefit the Guyanese economy heavily because it will create employment, because it will incentivize that business. And for that reason, I propose that this bill be favorable to this House.
Thank you very much. The question is that the bill be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the bill be read a second time.
Auctioneers Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 2 of 2020.
The House shall now resolve itself into committee to consider the bill clause by clause. Honorable members, I want to propose that this bill has two clauses, that we take both clauses together. Any objections? Those in favor? Thank you. I now propose the question that clauses 1 and 2 stand part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 1 and clause 2 stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The clauses shall stand part of the bill. Did I hear a call for no? Honorable members, I now put the entire bill to the committee that the bill be reported to the Assembly. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the Assembly resume. Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to report that the Auctioneers Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 2 of 2020, was considered in committee clause by clause and was passed without amendment. I move that the bill be read a third time.
The question is that the bill be now read the third time and passed as printed. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the bill be read a third time.
Auctioneers Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 2 of 2020.
Honorable members, we will now proceed with the second reading of the Corporation Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 3 of 2020. Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the Corporation Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 3 of 2020, published on the 21st of September 2020, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this bill seeks to exempt corporation taxes on private corporate education institutions and private corporate medical health care institutions, whereby it recommends the removal of the 25% of corporation taxes existing on private corporate education institutions and on private corporate medical health care institutions. Such a removal will make it a more profitable venture to attract quality educational investments, which will result in greater access to learning opportunities across all fields of study. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the 25% of corporation tax on private corporate medical health care institutions and services will make it more affordable to the average Guyanese and will attract specialty health care services to the country. So this measure, Mr. Speaker, seeks to address improvement, affordability, and access to private educational opportunities as well as the private medical institutions. So to explain the impact of this measure and how it will benefit the ordinary man, I would like to give you, Mr. Speaker, in the House, an example. The removal of the 25% corporate tax on education will allow for this. In order for us to have quality education, which will certainly improve our capacity to be productive, ensuring that we have a skilled labor force. We have to expand opportunities that already exist. And in the expanding of those opportunities that already exist, affordability is a big issue. And we have to give people choices. Not everybody will want to attend the University of Guyana. In as much as this budget supports the University of Guyana, people must have options and choices. So, this measure is intended to attract other institutions of learning, reputable, well-accredited institutions of learning, to set up campuses in Guyana and offer those opportunities to Guyanese in the first instance. But Mr. Speaker, with this kind of an intervention that we are proposing, where we could attract educational institutions to come and set up campuses here in Guyana for learning, it will also be a major source of earning foreign exchange. Because when those campuses are established in Guyana, students from around the world, because of the favorable rates that will be offered in Guyana, would be able to make Guyana a destination of choice. We see that right now with some of the institutions. We have quite a lot of foreign students attending some of these institutions. To every student that comes here, because we are making it more attractive, they have to find apartments to live. So that's opportunities for Guyanese who are providing that service. The fact that those students from overseas who are coming to study in Guyana will become resident. They have to spend, which means their families that are supporting them from overseas have to send money to Guyana. And that's money, foreign exchange coming, and money in circulation. So this measure alone, just in the educational sector, is providing choices and opportunities of our young professionals and of our young people who are pursuing education at affordable rates, because the 25% corporation tax is being waived, and it is also to attract reputable, well-accredited institutions to set up campuses in Guyana. And with that, we can see an inflow of foreign students coming. We don't have to go too far. Just go to Grenada and see what is happening in Grenada. The fact that they have educational institutions that attract, well, good quality, accredited institutions, that they attract foreign students, it's a significant contributor to the economy. So this measure is creating that architecture to facilitate that in education. Mr. Speaker, similarly, when it comes to the removal of corporate tax on private health care as well, combined with the government's removal of VAT on medical supplies. This will also make healthcare more affordable to the average Guyanese. Because if the hospital or the healthcare facility don't have to pay the 25% corporate tax, the person accessing an ultrasound or a CAT or have to do their blood test, the cost will eventually go down and makes it more affordable. And people must have choices again. Whether they go to the GPHC or to one of our regional hospitals, which this budget that has just passed makes provision for to improve services in the state-owned institutions. But people must also have choices, and when they seek to access services at private medical institutions, it must be at affordable rates and ensuring that these private medical institutions can survive. But here again, sir, this measure also creates an environment for investment into Guyana by world-class medical institutions. Because this facility of the removal of the 25% corporation tax is an incentive for them to come to Guyana. It means that the range of services, high-class medical services, could become available. And Mr. Speaker, you know, in an environment of competition, prices will become competitive and affordable. So the forward thinking of this administration being led by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali is seeking to put options on the table. Education and health are non-negotiables for our citizens. We believe that every citizen in Guyana must have access to affordable education and affordable health care. That is why we made provision to support education in the public sector, and we made provision to support health care in the public sector. But here it is that we're also incentivizing private public education and incentivizing private medical facilities by the removal of the 25% corporation tax. Once this National Assembly approves this amendment to the law, it will come into operation because of the nature of it retroactively January 1st of this year, 2020. Accordingly, Section 7 of the Corporation Tax Act shall be amended to provide, therefore, by the insertion of paragraph T and paragraph U after paragraph S, the following words: the profits of private corporate education institutions, and in paragraph U, the profits of a private corporate medical health care institution. And this, we are asking that the House approves this measure, and this is a pro-poor, pro-people measure. Again, proving the credentials of the People's Progressive Party Civic, fulfilling its manifesto promises, and living true to its word of being pro-poor, pro-people, and ensuring affordability and access. And I ask that this bill be supported. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Mohammed Mr. Anil Nandlal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by recognizing the absence of the other side of this House from these debates and to offer my view, if only for the permanent record of this House, as to why they have chosen to stay away from these debates. Mr. Speaker, it is no doubt that this bill and the other bills that are before us today, and the orders and the regulations, are a compendium of measures, all designed to bring great relief and reprieve to the Guyanese people in the form of removal of taxes, reduction of taxes, and reduction of licenses fees. And they were all imposed upon the backs of the Guyanese people as a draconian tax policy of the other side when they were in government. So they are faced, Mr. Speaker, with that difficult conundrum of being present in the House and either agree with us that they were wrong and they impoverish this nation by those measures, or they sit here and vote against it. And history has proven, sir, that they always take the easy way out. And what is that way, sir? Absent from these debates. Demonstrating once again to the people of Guyana where they stand on the developmental agenda of this country. And it is not a new role. That has been the history of the PNC from its birth. The PPP builds, the PPP develops, the PNC destroys, the PNC takes us backward. And today, in 2020, they begin the 12th session of this assembly, demonstrating that nothing has changed. So, Mr. Speaker, that is my view of their absence here today. But that will not discourage us, because we are here not to do a presentation for them, but to do the people's business and to demonstrate to the people of Guyana our commitment to their better welfare. And Mr. Speaker, that is why today this assembly is sitting in this special session almost dedicated towards the delivery of promises which the People's Progressive Party Civic made while we were in the campaign trail and in our manifesto to remove all the draconian measures, tax measures, and to reduce licensing fees imposed by the APNU while they were in government. Mr. Speaker, these measures that we are debating today can be found in various parts of our manifesto. And all of us sitting on this side of the House would have campaigned right across the length and breadth of this country, at the marketplaces, at the street corners, at the rally grounds, at the bottom houses, in the rivers and creeks, and at the mountain foot, telling the Guyanese people that we are going to deliver these promises. And today, Mr. Speaker, we are delivering those promises to the people of our country. Mr. Speaker, Guyana's greatest assets in the eyes of the People's Progressive Party are our people. And the greatest tribute that a government can pay to its people is to ensure that they have the highest possible educational standards and the highest possible healthcare standards. A truly rich nation is an educated and healthy nation. And Mr. Speaker, this philosophy of ours in the People's Progressive Party of investing heavily in the education and health sector is nothing new, Mr. Speaker. It dates back to PPP governments from the 50s and 60s under colonial rule. And it is under the PPP civic administration, Mr. Speaker, for example, that the University of Guyana was born, that the Guyana School of Agriculture was born, that the Guyana Technical Institutes in Georgetown and Berbice were born. All of those institutions, bolstered under Chetty Jagan's government in the 1960s, were all groundbreaking at the time. There was no university in the West Indies when Dr. Jagan started the University of Guyana. They were all premier educational institutions at the time. And Mr. Speaker, from 1992 to 2015, we continued that ideology and that philosophy of investing heavily in the social sectors in particular, but specifically in the area of education and health. And Mr. Speaker, a quick examination of our budgets from 1992 to 2015 will show uniformly that we have dedicated over 20 to 25% of every budget that we have passed towards healthcare and education. And Mr. Speaker, in the year 2020, under President Irfan Ali administration, that trajectory has not only continued, but is on the rise. A whopping 52 billion has been allocated to the education sector and a staggering 51 billion 700,000 allocated to the health sector in the 2020 budget. Still yet, Mr. Speaker, our government is not satisfied that we are doing enough in the area of health and education. And that is why over the next 5 years, in addition to huge budgetary allocations, we will continue to unleash an array of measures to augment education and to enhance healthcare in our country. Mr. Speaker, we will restart, for example, the One Laptop for Family program soon to ensure that our children, our students have access to computers. We will break the telecommunication sector soon to ensure that we have affordable and accessible internet available to our students. We will bring back a specialty hospital, or rather many specialty hospitals in the near future, to ensure that our people get specialized health care. And Mr. Speaker, it is against that backdrop that this simple measure must be located for it to be properly appreciated. Mr. Speaker, the removal of corporate tax from education and from health, Mr. Speaker, puts us in a special category of countries in the Caribbean. We now join countries such as Bermuda, Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, Panama, Anguilla, Bermuda, Turk and Caicos as countries that have long removed education, corporate tax from education and health welfare. So, Mr. Speaker, while our government will continue to invest heavily in the public health sector and in the public education sector, simultaneously, we are creating an environment in the private arena that would make the proliferation of these services of a particular quality welcome in our country. Mr. Speaker, one of the immediate discernible benefits that will flow from this measure is a reduction of tuition fees of students attending private school and a reduction of medical expenses if a citizen decides to choose private medical care. Most naturally, Mr. Speaker, this will be a welcome relief to the people of our country, especially the poor and the working people, as it allows them greater disposable income to spend in other endeavors. Mr. Speaker, on an average, a student at a private or secondary school pays more than $300,000 per annum in tuition. My honorable colleague here has close affinity to private education institutions, and he can, of course, confirm what I'm saying. The removal of corporate taxes from private education institutions save each student approximately $75,000 per annum. And this figure, Mr. Speaker, is not inclusive of tertiary education and private lessons. With an approximate of 10,000 private students, this will represent a transfer of more than $750 million conservatively to households throughout this country. Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Guyana 2018 annual reports show that the health services accounted for $7.96 billion alone. The removal of corporate taxes from private health care will see a transfer totaling more than $950 million, which will inevitably be passed on to consumers, making almost all private health services automatically cheaper by 25%. But, Mr. Speaker, as the Honorable Bishop Edgell explained, this is merely part of the government's larger vision for the establishment, or rather the creation of a destination here in Guyana for primary, secondary, and specialized health care and education. We want to make Guyana, Mr. Speaker, the academic hub and the healthcare hub of the Caribbean. That is the vision of our administration. Mr. Speaker, the Bishop spoke about the St. George's University in Grenada, and that is only one example. That is only one example of what a singular investment can do. Mr. Speaker, now with COVID here and with the tourism sector performing at its worst, St. George's University has become a fundamental component of the economic foundation of Grenada because of the thousands of students parents that live there and visit there on a regular basis. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manichan, and yours truly have been directed by His Excellency President Irfan Ali to begin discussions with the University of the West Indies and the Council of Legal Education in the Caribbean with a view of attracting their presence in Guyana. And that is part of the vision. We have begun, Mr. Speaker, to work towards that objective of making Guyana that attractive destination for educational and healthcare provision in this part of the world. Mr. Speaker, therefore, this bill is simply the tip of the iceberg of what is to come in the health and education sector. This here, Mr. Speaker, we are simply laying a part of the foundation of a grand plan that we will unfold within the next 5 years for the education and healthcare sector. So, Mr. Speaker, there is absolutely no reason why this bill should not be supported by the entire House. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs. I now call on the Honorable Minister in the Ministry of Public Works, the Honorable Member, Mr. Deodat Inda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as my two colleagues clearly outlined, the vision that the Dr. Irfan Ali-led administration has for Guyana, a part of it, a small part of it, is what is being looked at here today. This morning, as the explanatory memorandum was read out by the Honorable Minister Juan Ejil, he speaks about the removal of the 25% on the corporation tax for education. Mr. Speaker, education is developmental. Education is developmental because that is what it did for countries throughout civilization. Universities, schools are developed and they are placed most times, the best universities are placed close proximity to stock markets. Because as you go into the university, as you come out from a university, you go into the business sector, you generate wealth in the business sector, and that circle continues. In Guyana, we have been behind the curve. As the Honorable Member Mohabir Anil Nandalal just said, listed a number of countries that already have these kind of measures in their country for education. Now, our country right now suffer from a whole lot of skill sets. And those skill sets can be now remedied by the advent of passing this bill that reduces your tax bill simply by removing 25% of the profits that the 25% on the profits you would generated would not be taxed, can now be transferred to students. How can this be done? It's a simple measure. If you're saving money from your operations, that money can be translated into cheaper rate per child. And cheaper rate per child helps parents, regardless of what part of the education strata you're serving. If it's from nursery straight up to university level, that saving can be translated into saving per child. Now, Mr. Speaker, right now in the Caribbean, the cost for education in Guyana as versus those in the Caribbean varies. But with this measure, it will clearly send a signal that we intend to develop our people in the areas of The fourth, I'll just list a couple, Mr. Speaker. TVET schools. We have the technical skills, some of it. We need to develop them quickly because right now Guyana is now venturing into oil and gas society. There are skill sets that are needed right now to give our people jobs that we don't have. How can we get these skill sets? These skill sets can be brought into Guyana by various schools, either trade schools, university, whatever it is. I have seen countries across where they have oil and gas economy. I have ventured into Newfoundland in Canada. In that country, in that province in Canada, there are a lot of trade schools that benefit from incentive that the government of that province give. Those schools are needed here too. If you are in the oil and gas sector, you would need helicopter ditching training. You would need something called STCW training for you to venture out on a vessel to go offshore. Those skills are not in Guyana. Those certifications are not granted in Guyana. With the advent of passing of this bill and incentivizing the education sector for investment in Guyana, those skills can now be set up here and it can be done as an attractive venture. It will give prospective Guyanese the opportunity to go and study, to go and be trained for jobs that we are not getting right now. Jobs that are going to foreigners and that our people are not benefiting from. Mr. Speaker, law schools, business schools, medical schools, drilling schools, chemical engineering schools, mechanical engineering schools, civil works schools. All those are areas in which we can venture into and private sector can invest in so that we can transfer the skills to our people. The reduction in 25%, the removal of the 25% of the corporation tax that currently applies will see reserves for schools right now being grown because it will be effective from the 1st of January 2020. It will see reserves that would now have to go into government's hand, will stay in the private sector's pocket. That money can be reinvested for existing schools to further expand. In addition to the removal of the corporation tax for schools, private education, I will go into the healthcare sector. The removal of the 25% tax on private corporate medical healthcare facilities or institutions is one that is part of our manifesto. Our manifesto, Mr. Chairman, we have arrived here in Parliament and in government through a political process. That process, we went to the people of Guyana, we said that all of the draconian measures, all of the hardship measures that were placed by the previous government, we will remove them. This is one step in that direction. Mr. Speaker, if you look at tax regimes throughout the Caribbean, Guyana is placed as one of the highest tax rate regimes. The rate of tax is very high. And because of that, Guyana is being shortchanged with new investment, new foreign direct investment over a number of years. The simple reason being is when any investor sits and it looks at as an MPV analysis, or he looks at a business case justification if to go into come into our country to make an investment to carry on business, the tax rate is a disincentive to that investment. So investors stay away from Guyana. By the removal of this 25% on medical institutions operating here, it gives a whole new opening for a whole new set of services. Mr. Speaker, as you know, we have medical capabilities in the institutions, in government and in private sector. But as we speak now, there are need for reduction in prices for services, especially in the areas of cardiology. Mr. Speaker, I have experienced this at my own time. Cardiology services in Guyana, especially in the private health, is very expensive. With the advent of the removal of the 25% corporation tax, that can be factored into a reduction in costs for units charged to Guyanese citizens. Everything surrounding heart bypass surgery is a very expensive thing. This reduction in taxation can find its way back to the cost per unit the hospital charge to patients. Services such as orthopedic, orthopedic, orthopedic services. Mr. Speaker, again, I am a person who suffers from gout. I go to the hospital, Mr. Speaker, the prices are very, very expensive. I have suffered this just as many thousands of other Guyanese who suffer from this. This reduction in prices, this reduction in corporation tax can see reduction in prices for services. Mr. Speaker, cancer screening, we can have diabetes, all the checkups to make sure the person, when as they're getting worse and worse, they can do something about it, because diabetes and all of all the spin-off sickness that come from it, all of these things, Mr. Speaker, you can have costs per unit that is charged by private institutions be reduced, simply because the private market in Guyana is a very competitive one. Although persons want the best health care for their family and their loved ones, they want to go to an institution that they can afford, because they don't want the bill to kill them as well. I mean, they try to get the best health care for their family, but they don't want the bill to be a big worry for them. This is in the right direction of reducing the services that we provide to our citizens. Apart from this, Mr. Speaker, there are other measures in the other bills that will come to the floor that also see removal of VAT from certain services. That, added to this, will carry down the costs for health care for citizens of the country. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I look for support of this bill in the House today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I now put the question that the bill be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the bill be read a second time.
Corporation Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 3 of 2020.
The House shall now resolve itself into Committee of the Whole. Thank you, honorable members. Again, I want to propose that we take both clauses of the bill together. Those in favor say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. We shall take the two clauses together. I propose the question that clauses 1 and 2 form part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 1 and 2 form part of the Corporation Tax Amendment Bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. I now put the question that the bill be reported to the Assembly. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the Assembly resume. Honorable members, I now call on the Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to report that Corporation Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 3 of 2020, was considered in committee clause by clause and was passed without amendment. I move that the bill not be read the third time and passed as printed.
The question is, I put the question that the Corporation Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 3 of 2020, be read a third time and passed as printed. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the bill be read a third time.
Corporation Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 3 of 2020.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the Hucksters Licensing and Control Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 4 of 2020, published on the 21st of September 2020, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, I recall debating this bill in its previous dispensation when everything was taxed. A man walking on foot selling clothes got paid tax. A man peddling his snow cone cards, tax. Mr. Speaker, remember when we used to go to school, they had something called Badman Latcher. Adam Latcher. The bottom Latcher man got paid tax. Drake yard man, tax. So the vendor, the hustler, whatever you want to call them, the Granger administration, Mr. Speaker, because of the lack of vision, their inability to innovate and to inspire investment, went to the small man who was already struggling and squeezed them by taxes, fees, for licensing. Mr. Speaker, I am proud today, on behalf of the PPPC, keeping faith with the people of Guyana, to come to the House to ask that these hardships be removed. Mr. Speaker, by way of this bill, we are reversing the hardships. Mr. Speaker, the truth is, we would have been happy today to be coming to the House to enact legislation that is moving Guyana forward, but much of what we're doing today is correcting wrongs. It's almost like you have to clean the slate, make things normal again. Reverse, well, I don't know if our sketch could reverse. But Mr. Speaker, the extent of the damage was done. And I believe this is a good way for us to say to our Guyanese brothers and sisters who toil day and night to make a living for their family and to take care of their household. It's a good time for us to offer them an apology for the hardships they had to endure over the last 5 years. And we in the PPPC are not just saying we are sorry about your struggles, and we are sorry about your plight, and we understand your difficulty. We are doing tangible things to make life better for them. And one of those tangible things that we are doing today, sir, is by announcing and proposing the passage of this bill, and when it is passed, the Huckster on foot, pedal cycle, Drake yard man, cancer man, everybody gonna be smiling again in Guyana, thanks to the People's Progressive Party Civic. Mr. Speaker, they increased to 62,500, the licensed hucksters. Not only led to tax evasion, because if you got paid 62,500, that's for the license. Men start dropping from the GRA. It almost encouraged non-compliance and non-licensing. People who want to walk in the straight and the narrow path, ensuring that they are in keeping with what needs to be done, start ducking and hiding because the thing too heavy. So you had the problem of tax evasion, you had the problem of people not licensing, and people were finding it very hard to carry out their trade and to provide income for themselves and families. We are reducing this to $2,030, $7,250, and $36,350. Moving it from them heavy $62,500, reversing it by 50%. That is what the intent of this measure is, sir. So, Mr. Speaker, Section 3 of the Principal Act is amended by the substitution for the word beginning with every huckster and ending with the word $62,500 with the following word. The man who is traveling on foot or with a man-propelled vehicle or cycle, he will only now have to pay $2,030. Who travels with a horse cart or other beast bearing or drawing burden, $7,250. And who travels with a motor vehicle, $36,350. Bringing the prices down to a level of affordability, identifying with the sacrifices that our people make, encouraging small people to continue to ply their trade, showing that we believe in micro and small enterprise development, and showing that we understand our people and ensuring that they operate in a framework of affordability as well as compliance. So, Mr. Speaker, like my friend, the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs would have said, I could have hardly imagined what it would have been like to stand here today in the presence of my colleagues who now represent the APNU AFC and to bring this bill, because I would have had to remind them, and I'm doing so even in their absence, while reminding the nation. We appeal and say, what are you doing this for? Why is this necessary? But they took their might is right approach and inflicted harm on the people of Guyana. Mr. Speaker, we went to the nation, and you would have seen on the lampposts the reversal of taxes and the reversal of VAT. Today, this bill is testimony to every Guyanese, including those who voted for the APNU AFC. When the PPP says something, they mean it. And when we say we're going to do something, we do it. And here it is. Bill number 4 of 2020 is making sure we take the burden of the backs of the small man. We're taking the burdens of the back of the people who have made certain choices of how they would like to find their own niche in making a living in Guyana. And that is being a husker, whether on foot, bicycle, motorbike, drake yard, donkey yard, small canter, or big canter. Whether you're selling fruits, clothes, snow cone, balam latcha, or jalebi. So, Mr. Speaker, I ask for the support of this bill. And I could imagine the excitement that is taking place in the villages across this country, because we told them, I grew up in an environment, Mr. Speaker, when you hear the man blow the shell, you know it's fish passing. Chorus! coming through. Shrimp! And that man had to now be subjected to Granger and cohorts over the last 5 years. That man could come out with the cat again, blowing cell. The man who buying all batteries. You know, the driver around and said, buying all batteries. That man had to go into hiding because he would have to pay $62,500 just because he got a license to buy all batteries. So, Mr. Speaker, all of our small people in the villages, and that is why I can't accept this narrative of from an uncaring opposition who are trying to tell people that all the PPPC is concerned about is the private sector. This is dealing with ordinary people. This is getting village life going again. This is getting people real employment. That man, when he collects his money, he pushes it in his pocket with pride. He pushes his cart again, blow the whistle for the next street to come out and buy. The canter with the greens would come back in the village again. The donkey cart man selling broom and coconut and so on, and pumpkin and watermelon would come back again. Because we are bringing them in line, affordability, compliance, and ensuring that their welfare is taken care of and protected. A government for the people and a government with people in mind. I ask that this bill be supported, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Public Works. Honorable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Tuesday, September the 29th, is the day of the small man and woman of Guyana. This is the day that the PPPC has made and will deliver on the promises made to the people of Guyana. We campaign through the length and breadth of Guyana. And today is the day of reversal, is the day of reduction, is the day of regrouping and repositioning the people for prosperity in Guyana. Mr. Speaker, in keeping with our government's promise to the Guyanese people of putting more money in their pockets, we are reducing the cost of the Huckster's license by 50% of the burden that the former APNU AFC administration placed on these people. From as early as the 1st of October 2020, they will be able to benefit from the significant reduction in the cost of their license fees. Mr. Speaker, the former APNU AFC administration, which promised and preached about the good life for all, thought that the increase of these license fees by 92% was a good move in promoting their version of what a good life is. This is just one of the many burdens that our PPPC government will make right for the people of Guyana. Mr. Speaker, the ordinary man trying to make an honest living, especially those with very small incomes on which they have to survive, could barely see any profits after all of the ways in which the previous government found to take money out of poor people's pockets. The ridiculous fees that these people were asked to pay just for them to be able to operate their small businesses is highly absurd. Mr. Speaker, our duty to the hundreds of thousands of Guyanese who elected us into office is to improve their lives and help them to grow and develop. Mr. Speaker, by the reduction of these license fees, these small businessmen and businesswomen will be able to do so much more and enjoy a better standard of living. Our government is creating opportunities for our people to have more disposable income and thus increasing their spending power. Mr. Speaker, we are aware of the sufferings of people all across this nation. And in urgently addressing these issues, it is critical that we make these changes as early as possible. The relief that will be brought to hucksters all across Guyana by this bill is a testament to our government's commitment to delivering on our promises in our manifesto and creating the pathway to prosperity for all Guyanese. Mr. Speaker, hucksters and hucksterate, if there is such a word, is part of the Guyanese culture. It doesn't matter whether you live in a low-income community, a middle-income community, or a high-end community. As the Honorable Bishop Wanajil mentioned, all of us are accustomed to hearing the huckster whenever he or she enters our city. Mr. Speaker, many hucksters produce children who are engineers, doctors, lawyers, business executives, and tycoons on that little income. And therefore, the reduction in taxes, very important for these small business people to continue to develop Guyana and the future of Guyana. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, reversal, reduction, regrouping for prosperity of all the people of Guyana must start now, and today is the day for the small man and the small woman here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Hucksters Licensing and Control Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 4 of 2020, be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the bill be read a second time.
Hucksters Licensing and Control Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 4 of 2020.
The House shall resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole. Thank you. Honorable members, again I propose that we take both clauses of this bill together. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. I propose the question that clauses 1 and 2 form part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 1 and 2 form part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. I now put the question that the bill be reported to the Assembly. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Let the Assembly resume. Honorable Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to report that the Hucksters Licensing and Control Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 4 of 2020, was considered in committee clause by clause and was passed without amendment. I move that the bill be now read the third time and pass as printed.
The question is that the Hucksters Licensing and Control Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 4 of 2020, be read a third time and pass as printed. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Let the bill be read a third time.
Huckster's Licensing and Control Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 4, 2020.
Honorable members, we will now proceed with the second reading of the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 5 of 2020. Honorable Member, Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 5 of 2020, published on the 21st of September 2020, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this bill seeks to amend Section 20A1 of the Income Tax Act, Chapter 8101, to provide for mortgage interest relief. Homeowners will be allowed a deduction of interest paid on their mortgage loans where the loans do not exceed $30 million. This bill increases the loan for which deductions of interest is enjoyed from $15 million to $30 million and shall come into effect as from the 1st of January 2020, this year. Mr. Speaker, mortgage interest relief or interest accrued on housing loans up to $30 million to be deducted from your income tax. In 2013, the PPPC introduced this measure, now known as mortgage interest relief, to first-time low and middle income homeowners to help them realize their dream of becoming homeowners. This was intended to move our people from being tenants to being homeowners. This was intended to assist our young professionals to move from being in mommy and daddy's home, shacked up, into being families in units of their own. The intent in 2013 was to ensure that a portion of the income, the taxable income, utilized to pay interest on housing loans was exempt from personal income tax. And initially, it was applicable to loans up to $30 million. 2017, APNU AFC interfered and changed this and moved it from 30 million to 15 million. What they were basically saying was that, certain people should not live and enjoy certain benefits at a certain standard of living. It was the elitist thinking that caused them to reduce the ceiling from 30 million to 15 million. But, Mr. Speaker, we stand here today to say to all of our professionals, whether they're in public service or private service, Guyana must be a country where we are expanding the middle class. Guyana must be a country where we are making room for a growing middle class. And one of the things that middle class should see is home ownership. So while the low working class will benefit from this, because whether your loan is 10 million or 12 or 15 or 18, you will benefit from this. But we are taking it back to 30 million so that we be able to take and allow this intervention to be a support to our emerging and developing, and I dare say young middle class, people who are owning their homes for the first time. And Mr. Speaker, this measure becomes more important because it coincides and it accompanies government overall's vision of ensuring over the 5 years 50,000 house lots are distributed. My colleagues in the Ministry of Housing, they are tasked with the identification and development and putting in the infrastructure for these house lots. And this is not about elections where people hand out letters fooling people that you're getting a house lot when you ended up in a cemetery. This is about real development. This measure is accompanying strategic reform in the registry, the land registry, to ensure people could get their title to their land. And when they get their title, they must be able to go to a financial institution, a bank, present their title, and get a loan for the building of their home. And when they have to start paying back the bank, their government, a working class government, a people's government, is saying that by way of this measure, you will get relief on your income tax because of your mortgage payment. So this is something that is designed to stimulate home ownership. It will help the banks, even in their own portfolio of lending, because affordability in the repayment is going to be there. Some banks are going to have more applications, more people are going to make use of this facility. We're going to grow the middle class, making home ownership affordable for the low-income earners and ensuring that they benefit. So, Mr. Speaker, let me give you an example. Let's say a potential homeowner takes out a mortgage of 18 million with terms of 30 years at an interest rate of 9.5%, incurring a monthly interest of 85,000 over the life of the loan. An individual earning a monthly income of 150,000 can receive more than 21,000 additional income at their disposal each month, or more than 250,000 each year if they are a first-time home owner with a mortgage of 18 million. So the non-taxable part of their income is there and they have more money available to them. And we are talking here, Mr. Speaker, about more disposable income. And Mr. Speaker, here again, we have to say this is not something that is happening for the first time. The PPPC in 2013 put this measure in place. Today, with this bill, we are correcting another wrong that was done to our people. It was wrong to reduce it to 15 million. Today, with the passage of this bill, with the support of this assembly, we are correcting this wrong and we are putting it back to 30,000 so that the net of people who will benefit from this measure will be widened and the benefits will be passed on to the ordinary people, putting more money in people's pocket, ensuring more disposable income. Mr. Speaker, I ask that this bill be supported. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Public Works. Let us take the Honorable Prime Minister, then we will have the suspension. Honorable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, again, our government promised the burden of exorbitant taxes on our people will be reduced. This bill, which will increase the mortgage interest relief ceiling for homeowners from $15 million to $30 million, will put hundreds of thousands of dollars back in the pockets of our people. Mr. Speaker, this will be beneficial especially to our young people who make up a large percentage of first-time homeowners. Our government believes that our people should be able to live in dignity. Excessive taxation and little incentives do not provide the environment for economic growth and improved standard of living. With this new implementation, Mr. Speaker, the monies which people will now be able to save can be used otherwise to improve their lives. For the majority of the people, this means that they will have more money at their disposal to build and complete their homes in a faster time. This will also result in a higher standard of houses built by individuals, as they will now have more money to actually put into the construction of their homes instead of expending it on interest on a mortgage, which is already limited. Mr. Speaker, one of the major concerns of many people across this country is being able to afford to purchase or build a house. As we visit many communities across our country, people are frustrated about having land on which they cannot afford to even lay down a foundation and start construction. The demand for housing is enormous from persons at every single level. And thus, this measure is just one of the many ways in which our government will address this situation and provide the conditions necessary for people to be able to achieve their goals and ambitions. Mr. Speaker, the APNU AFC did nothing, or they did nothing substantial during their 5 years in office to address the issue of housing, nor did they provide the conditions which would help to push our people forward. Instead, Mr. Speaker, what the people got was the complete opposite of what they were promised. What our people were forced to live through and put up with was the grave incompetence of the honorable members who occupy the other side of this house. They were nothing but a complete failure of a government to the people all across our country who trusted them. They sat in office for 5 whole years, and not one of them could even come up with a simple plan to attempt to do something at least, to show that they had an ounce of concern for the plight of the ordinary man trying to make a better life. Mr. Speaker, the benefits were just for the elite bunch and their cronies who lived lavish and luxurious lifestyles like kings and queens, while the average man, many of whom are their own supporters, had to feel the squeeze. Mr. Speaker, this bill will be deemed effective from 1st of January 2021, will allow for the percentage of people who are able to afford a decent home to increase significantly. This increase in the mortgage interest relief also means that more persons will have easier access to mortgages for the purchase of homes, which will result in a massive increase of home ownership across our country. This is what we call development, Mr. Speaker. This is what progress means for the people of Guyana, Mr. Speaker. This is what the PPPC government represents, and not a promise fulfilled, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable members, this is a good time to take the suspect.